Couture continuing to punish Kevin Randleman.
Kevin.
Randy with a knee.
To grab the back of your head, punch in the face.
Couture trying to stop this fight.
Randy Couture is gonna. Guy hasn't been fighting for a while. He's
that's the big
new movie Shooter starring Mark Wahlberg and theaters. Randy trying to throw down the giant.
big knee, but Randy with the twist.
And new UFC and now again the UFC light heavyweight champion, the new UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Randy the Natural Couture.
Not bad for an old man. We walked over to the emergency room. They got me in very quickly, hooked me up to an EKG, and then all hell broke loose. They're like, dude, you're having a heart attack.
I'm super late on this topic, and I meant to make a video on this a while ago, but I guess I just kind of forgot. All good though, because I'm covering the topic now. Do we all know who this guy is? I'm sure you all now at least have an idea of who this guy is, but just in case you didn't know who he is, I'll fill you in. His name is Randy Couture, and he is a legend in the world of MMA. The guy is a 2-time light heavyweight champion and a 3-time heavyweight champion under the UFC promotion. The 3rd time, by the way, when he won that heavyweight title, was at the very young and limber age of 43 years old, as he felt the need to come out of retirement to put just a complete shellacking beatdown on Tim Sylvia while he was in his prime, to prove he is just a hidden savage walking among his other AARP members. I remember watching this fight when I was in the Corps and just being completely blown away. Look at Grandpa Couture. At least I would be very honored if, you know, I was somehow related to Randy Couture, but whatever. Just let's look at Couture just beating the shit out of this giant named Tim Sylvia. He completely outclassed Tim Sylvia when Tim Sylvia was at his prime to recapture the heavyweight title for the 3rd time. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I am a huge Randy Couture fan. Eventually, Randy Couture did start to fade away a bit, not necessarily because of what some people may perceive as a diminished capability to perform at the level of when he was at a younger age, but really I would say, and this is just my opinion, it's because of the new competition that was coming into the UFC that was much better, bigger, and just overall more evolved. So Randy Couture had to take a step back and retire from the sport of MMA, at least the competition side of it, at the age of 47. Nonetheless, Randy Couture still continued with his training and is still an athlete till this very day at the age of 56, which is just incredible. At least that's how he's, you know, that's the narrative he's telling everyone based on the interviews he's been on. He reports to have a clean diet, and he seems to have felt best, or at least he is reported to have felt best, and he felt like he would recover optimally when he was on an alkaline based diet. Again, based on what he said on previous reports. The problem here though is, what does Randy Couture consider to be clean? According to an interview he did about 12 years ago, a typical breakfast would consist of oatmeal and eggs, and his later meals tended to be more protein oriented, as he states. I know this is an old article, but this is what we've got to work with. I couldn't really find much on the guy in regards to his diet. But nonetheless, let's just assume that his diet is pretty much similar to this, or, you know, along those lines. But let's just stay with this. So eggs or oatmeal in the morning and protein-oriented meals in the evening. We can all agree that eggs are horrible for human consumption, mainly due to their ridiculously high amounts of cholesterol and saturated fat. But I'm not going to go into that topic right now or go into it over again, because I've already made a video on that. Link will be up above. If you want to check it out, feel free to do so. Then of course we have the protein-oriented meal in the evening, I guess to help stimulate more recovery. We could all assume that this protein-oriented meal is probably based on animal flesh like beef, steak, chicken, pork, or maybe fish, as this is what the typical athlete will consume or eat for high amounts of protein that is, so necessary. I'm not judging, I'm really not, I'm just being a little bit facetious. I used to think the same way just a few years ago myself, and until I read the science. Nonetheless, these foods are not healthy for human consumption due to their high amounts of saturated fat, cholesterol, heme, iron, HCAs, high concentrated amounts of potentially damaging amino acids, AGEs, high acidic loads per food item, and much more other substances. One would think that a world-class athlete like Randy Couture would be as healthy as an ox with this relatively clean diet and very vigorous training regimen that he's been following through the years, but that didn't seem to be the case.
We walked over to the emergency room. They got me in very quickly, hooked me up to an EKG, and then all hell broke loose. They're like, dude, you're having a heart attack.
The guy had a freaking heart attack at the age of 56 and probably still had a six-pack. How is that even possible? You've got to be kidding me. Are we really gonna say genetics? Are we gonna just cast it off to that? When are we gonna stop playing that card and realize that there is something much larger at play here?
My blood's so thick, it created a giant clot that occluded the whole artery. So they went in, sucked out the clot, put in a stent to keep the artery open. Had to start a blood thinner and a statin to stabilize the little bit of plaque I have in that artery. Now I don't have heart disease. I don't fit any of those categories. I do have some genetics. I'm finding out now that my father had his first heart attack in his 50s and actually died of heart disease. So I don't have heart disease. I do have some plaque in that one main artery, probably from a car accident in 1994. They suspected scar tissue. So
I don't know how someone can have high cholesterol levels or thick blood and not have heart disease. How did those plaques get there? Why is Randy Couture on a statin, which is meant to lower LDL cholesterol, if he doesn't have heart disease? Wouldn't that mean plaque is building up in the anterior walls of Mr. Couture's arteries? Isn't that heart disease? Am I just severely confused here? Look, I'm not saying that genetic variability doesn't count for something, because it does. I'm just saying that it's not the cause, and it's only a contributing factor as to why Randy had a heart attack. It's like liver cirrhosis. Let's just say, for example, that a group of us drink a bunch of alcohol every day. Some of us may get liver cirrhosis, and some of us may not. Does that mean the people who ended up getting cirrhosis just have a bad hand at life or have really crappy genetics? Of course not. It was the alcohol that caused the issue in the first place. And in this case, I think it's pretty safe to say that Randy Couture acquired heart disease and ended up having a heart attack because he was following a diet, or was doing his diet, that he perceived to be healthy, and he just happened to be more susceptible to have a heart attack or have heart disease, just like Charles Poliquin, because, that was a super healthy diet as well too. Look at Bernie Sanders. He pretty much looks like a typical old dude, maybe a little bit thinner than the typical old person of his age group. But nonetheless, he had a piss poor diet, and I would be willing to bet anything that he didn't exercise nowhere near as much as Randy Couture did, but he ended up having a heart attack 22 years later compared to that of a world-class athlete in Randy Couture. Sure, the life of an herbivore isn't fair when it's eating foods intended for an omnivore, but maybe life won't throw these curveballs to said herbivore, like a heart attack, if that herbivore just ate the foods it was intended to eat. I really wonder if people are going to keep playing that genetics card as these supposed healthy individuals start getting sick over time from these easily preventable diseases. It's really just easy to throw your hands up and just like chalk it up as something that is completely out of your control, rather than, you know, taking a look at the science and reevaluating your life. But nonetheless, this is what's really surprising to me.
I saw The Game Changer, the new documentary that's out. And
Yes.
pretty interesting. A lot of interesting information in that. Certainly maybe a little skewed towards the vegan or vegetarian thing, but I think there was some interesting stuff there for sure.
So Randy claims to have gone plant-based for his first fight against Chuck Liddell, which, by the way, he won by TKO. And he's apparently seen the Game Changers documentary, but he feels it's a little skewed towards the vegan vegetarian thing. You know, I really hate when people do this, especially people like Randy, who just had a damn heart attack. The documentary is full of references to back up all the claims. It stated it took thousands of combined research hours from the producers and top scientists in the world, and it was highly scrutinized for inconsistencies, but it's skewed. I would have a little bit of respect for this comment if Randy Couture read the research and maybe had some research of his own to rebut some of the points of the film, but it's skewed. It's easier to judge rather than look at the science that was presented in this Game Changers documentary and actually see the facts stated in the film can maybe potentially save Randy from having another atherosclerotic event, or maybe even completely take him off of his symptom sedating medication. But no worries. It's skewed. Clearly, there's too much skewing going on here. So if you're a vegan who likes to skew things, stop skewing, you science-based, compassionate, agenda-having damn vegan. I will say though, there is one vegan slash plant-based YouTuber who is doing way too much skewing. Her name is Amy from Rabbit Food Fitness. She just created a banger of a video with loads of science to support how high carbohydrate plant foods improve endurance and health. Check out the video, link will be up above and in the description box down below. Show this young lady some support. Make sure to subscribe and like her videos, as she is a much underrated channel that deserves much more exposure. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'm sure she would greatly appreciate it even more, so thank you. So back to Randy Couture real quick. What should Randy Couture do? I mean, I really hate to throw this study back up here. I mean, it's not like every vegan hasn't seen this one like, I don't know, a cajillion times, you know, but whatever, you know, it's only, you know, the only diet to ever reverse heart disease. But, you know, I don't know if there's more proof than that not to consume fucking foods you're not supposed to be eating, but I don't know how else to put it. Let me know what you guys think. Should Randy Couture go plant-based? Will he ever go plant-based? I really hope so. It would probably be best if he went vegan, and I would hope he does go vegan. I think there's a chance he will though. You know, if he can stay here long enough. I really don't want anything to happen to Randy Couture. I love that guy. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. So that's about it for now. Please let me know what you think in the comment sections down below. As you know, I love to engage with all of you. You know, I appreciate all of you. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and hit the ding dong button if you haven't already. I'm the Natural Hulkster. I want to thank you for watching. And please stay tuned for the next one.